Welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Mr. Amps, and I'm here with...
Elizabeth Helly.
And...
Christian Klein.
Yes, hey! Christian Klein is here. We have a very special guest, Christian Klein, who is with us. He is a director, editor, motion designer, and VFX artist.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Amazing work. And thanks for filling in for Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler is out this week, but he will be back. For all you Tyler heads out there.
Christmas Sequel Rights jingle that I insisted on putting in.
That's right.
Shout out to Justin's brother Jordan, who made that for us.
Yeah. Nice. We're diving into Christmas in the middle of October, but you know what? Who cares?
Yeah.
If they're already selling Christmas shit at Costco or whatever, we're here for the.
And we are so dedicated to watching these movies in chronological order because they're the serious character developments that they go through in this film wouldn't have made sense after the next one.
There are literally some callbacks in here that would not have made sense.
That's true. That is actually
so I'm like,
kind of true.
When certain things happen later, we'll get to it. I was like, this is why we do it this way. But. Thank you all for being here with us to celebrate some holiday cheer and get things going into this, 90-degree weather that we're having before, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We're here talking Santa Buddies, a.k.a. Santa Buddies, the legend of Santa Paws.
Yes. And let me tell you also that you can email us always at sequelrights@gmail.com with your thoughts, questions, comments, things you want to yell at Tyler about. And we're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Sequel Rights. And please do not forget to leave us a review on one of those wonderful podcast platforms.
We're everywhere. We're literally everywhere. And we'll take your stars. We'll eat them. We live on the stars.
Do we?
We survive on star ratings.
Okay.
So the more stars, the better fed we will be.
It's what powers the Christmas icicle.
Yes.
That's
my
right.
God, the
That's
Christmas
right.
icicle. I'd almost blocked that out. Okay.
The classic Christmas icicle. Well, before we dive into this movie, Christian, thanks for being here with us, Christian Klein.
Of course.
Now, you have done a lot of cool things. You've directed some music videos. You've directed your own shorts. All of them can be found on YouTube. Amazing stuff. We watched the video for Bed by 9.
Thank you.
Pretty funny. And it's award-winning, right?
Thank you. Yeah, it won the Audience Choice Award at the 2024 Dances with Films Festival.
Oh, nice.
Amazing.
Great festival.
What made you want to direct that one or get involved with that song?
That one was honestly a friend of mine from college who... He's a really great stand-up comedian and musical comedian, and he used to do a show in his living room once a month that I would go to religiously. It was just like,
nice.
He's a very skilled comedian, and he always books a great lineup of other comedians, but also it was just like the way my community of friends would always see each other. Mm-hmm. So I was just hanging out at his show, and he performed that song one time, and I was like, we literally put in our pitch video that my reaction to the song was like, when John C. Reilly hears Will Ferrell singing for the first time in Step Brothers, I was just like, oh my God, this song, I love this so much. And I knew I wanted to make the video of it.
Yeah.
Just based on seeing that one performance.
And what was kind of like one of your favorite effects that you were able to get in there?
Well, it's funny. I didn't know if we were going to get into this music video, but one of the things I wanted to talk about it in relation to Santa Buddies was, so one of the things that excited me about Bed by 9 as a song was that there's a lot of great jokes, but also it was going to work as a visual effects playground for a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do that I hadn't gotten to do yet. So I was like, okay, if this music video is about him falling asleep, let's have him fully go into his dreams and do a bunch of classic dreamy storybook imagery. And I was like, we've got to get sheep jumping over a fence in there. and I had never done a fully CGI animal yet. So, as not great as the reindeer in this movie looked, I have to say I have a lot of sympathy as someone who struggled for 3 days just to figure out how to download a fully CGI sheep model, bring it into Blender, and then just get one animation cycle of a sheep running and jumping over a fence.
Oh,
it
man.
took so long to get right. And then I tried to render like 17 of them in a row. My computer just exploded. So no, it was just like, but I'm glad I went through that challenge. It was kind of one of the things that attracted me to the project. Like I said, like different visual effects techniques that I had not yet explored. I had a platform to do it.
I gotta say, I was obsessed with the dancing bed. That was so funny,
People are loving
and it looked
that.
amazing. You know, it's like the effect and everything just looked so cool.
Thank you so much.
I thought that was really funny. And then the short that we watched, Sweet Nothings, was also very funny.
Thank you so much.
And I loved I felt like all the tech was really well realized and like fit really well in the world. And I just thought it was so funny that like every single ad that you see is like it's all advertising sex, or how can this turn into sex? This is gonna get you sex. It was just, I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I wanted it to be a very like overly sexualized, more salacious, just like, and also kind of like dumbed down future. I was very inspired by the movie Idiocracy. Just in terms of their whole kind of world view of like the future is not going to be dystopian. Well, it will be dystopian, but it won't be like a serious dystopia. It'll be a dystopia of dumbness.
Yeah, with the extra big ass.
Yeah,
we'll be there any second now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one you guys should check out. It's really funny.
We'll put links to both.
Yeah. We'll include that in the show notes and everything. Well, I think that that's a good primer for you for this. You're just like ready to sit down and watch some ridiculous dog shit. Literally. No, I'm kidding.
I really wanted to get somebody who knows about VFX to come for one of these episodes eventually, just because it was so funny how. Wait, before I talk about this, tell us about your history with the Air Bud franchise in your life, or what you have seen.
I'm pretty sure I saw the original Air Bud like on a hot school bus someday, like we all did. But I went back and rewatched it in preparation for this episode. It's actually funny. I'm staying at a friend's place right now to take care of her cats while she's out of town, and she has a beautiful like 70-inch flat screen setup, like full on surround sound Sonos. So I got to watch
what a great
Air
way to
Bud
use
and
it.
the Buddies films in this like beautiful. I texted her a picture. I was like, "This is what I'm using. Your incredible setup to watch."
They're gonna come home and be like, "Who messed up my algorithm with all these fucking Air Bud dog movies?
Like, why didn't you watch Dune yet?"
No, but so I rewatched the original Air Bud, which was honestly a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
I feel like that one. Just there was a logic to the writing, and it wasn't just like pure slapstick nonsense.
Right.
And like all the visual effects they went for in that movie, like the dog's not talking in that movie, so it's
exactly.
But like, everything they did go for like was realized really well.
Yeah.
So I watched the original Air Bud, and I got like halfway through the first Air Buddies. I knew we were just doing Santa Buddies, but I was like, I want to try to get at least some kind of primer on like, okay, so now there's like 5 of them. What happened?
So admirable, so professional.
But I'm glad even though I only got like 30 minutes into the first Air Buddies, it was like, I'm glad I did, because for this one I was like, okay, I know who all these puppies are. It's like the children of Air Bud and Molly, and I know why they're all in different houses now. Like,
that makes sense,
And like I know like what the world building of Fernfield is kind of obviously like the world building rules of Fernfield are very loose for whatever they mean. I mean,
anything can happen.
Fernfield it's one of the most important cities in all of the world.
Yeah.
that's what we know.
Yeah. But no, it was fun to watch. I've always had a soft spot for talking animal movies. Actually, one of my favorite movies growing up was the 2001 Cats versus Dogs. I just unabashedly loved that. Was like the VHS that I wore out as a kid.
Nice.
So yeah, just the concept of talking animals, even though it's been done to death, like there's something that'll always be intriguing about it to me.
Sweet.
Yeah, but so what I was going to say is I really wanted to get someone who can speak to VFX on this, because I thought it was so interesting how like the first few Air Buds, they made a point of being like, no VFX was used in the basketball scenes on the dog or whatever. And like they did that for like at least the first 3, I think, for the sports things. And they gave up once he started playing baseball, which I'm still upset about the baseball, to be honest. But and so now then once we get to Air Buddies, then that was the first time there was talking talking and moving mouths,
Yeah.
and now we have all the way up to the North Pole,
Yeah.
the reindeer,
Fully CG shit happening.
yeah,
left
and
right.
we've also over the years watched many Christmas and Santa movies, so this is kind of an interesting entry into that.
Yeah.
Do you have a trailer?
I do. You guys want to get into it?
Let's do it.
Ho, ho, ho. Here we go.
Disney Santa Buddies.
Christmas is my favorite time of year.
The buddies are out to save the holidays with the help of some new friends.
The pound is where they put us dogs that no one cares about. We need a Christmas miracle.
Are you talking to me?
It's time to let Christmas back into your heart.
It only takes one person to change the lives of many.
Merry Christmas.
Mom, Dad, look at Santa bought me.
This holiday season, the buddies are coming to town.
Wahoo! Woo!
The buddies are coming to town, you guys.
I still can't decide if I find Tiny, the singing pup, like adorable or deeply unsettling.
You better watch what you say.
Porque no los dos, yeah. As the little girl in Mexico would probably say.
Oh my gosh. Tiny's the best, in my opinion.
We'll
But
talk about Tiny.
everything starts in a dark cave in the North Pole, where the world's most tired Santa says things like this.
These days, children and their pups just don't believe like they used to. Their focus is on themselves instead of on giving to others less fortunate.
Oh, he also has this to say.
And I'm afraid that's something we just can't teach.
Oh, I guess I'm Santa this time.
Oh my God.
George Wendt. Come
George
on, man.
Wendt. Yeah.
After giving up on life.
Yeah. You know what though? This movie did not kill him or the other guy, Tom Bosley. It didn't kill him either.
I thought it did.
Wait, what? One of them it didn't kill. They have like
Tom Bosley's appearance in the film was his final role.
Oh no!
Oh, then it must have been another movie he filmed before, but it came out after.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I specifically looked this up because
Yeah.
these sequels are always killing
Yeah,
storied old
I know.
actors. So
uncanny.
okay, yeah. So
Tom
okay.
Bosley. Dead.
So yeah, because we have Santa, but then we also because we had been wondering because we knew Santa Paws was in the title, and we were like, is Santa Paws going to be a man, a dog? Like,
Yeah.
will they coexist? You know, we
Yeah.
didn't really know. Like,
Is
maybe
the
it's
only
only
Santa
Santa
a
Paws.
dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, there's both Santa Claus and Santa Paws.
Yes.
And Santa Paws' son, Puppy Paws, but no mention of who Santa's son might be,
Yeah.
or who the mothers are, or the wives of either of these Santa
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
I'm sure Juliet would not approve. And by Juliet, I of course mean Carol Calvin Claus from the Santa Clauses series.
I don't know about you guys, but I was confused the entire movie about how they work together. So is Santa Paws supposed to deliver things only to the dogs? And then Santa Claus delivers things to all the human kids? Or
Well, that's
does
not
one
what
of them...
happened, though.
I know, that's what I'm
Because
saying.
Puppy Paws and the buddies ended up doing all of the work.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's confusing. But they make it sound like there is a mention of Air Bud in this.
Yes,
one of
he's
the-
not dead.
Yeah.
We were because last couple movies he hasn't been mentioned at all.
Yeah.
So we were like, is he dead? Like, not dead.
One of the buddies mentions that Dad dresses up as Santa. We all know Santa Paws is just Dad dressed up.
Yeah, and it was like present tense. It
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
like Dad used to dress up.
Right.
Ooh, no, he's still kicking around.
Still
somewhere.
with us. Still with us.
That
Thank
line
God.
was an interesting example of this movie flirted so closely with just telling kids there's no Santa.
It did. It did.
I was like, they're like, like they obviously never outright say it, but they allude to it through
Yeah.
lines like that a lot.
And
I
they
was like,
really, I think media in general
Yeah.
has really given up on like the mall Santa
Yeah.
as the real Santa. Like they just
Yeah.
admit now, like, oh,
Yeah.
you're the helper. And I don't know, like one of the things that actually was, I think, a little bit unique in this movie compared to all the Christmas movies we've seen is the elf inspiring the Fernfield elf to
Yes.
like actually care about his job. I was
Yeah.
like, that's like an angle on it I don't think I've actually seen before where like
Yeah.
this teen doesn't really care about his job and then he gets like inspired because he met a real elf or whatever.
And he does a good job of explaining like why those people are important.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're a representative.
Yeah.
You're free labor for the North Pole.
Well, someone's paying, just not Santa. Yeah, just not the North Pole.
That's true. That's true.
The mall corporations. Capitalism.
So, the whole conceit here is that there's everyone, tale as old as time. Everyone's heard of the Christmas icicle, right? Y'all know. All the kids know about the Christmas icicle.
Yeah, of course.
Which somehow manages to both look phallic, but also kind of like a female anatomy at different parts in this film.
I did not think that once, but okay.
Okay.
I was like, Eliza's dirty mind is all
they're
over.
just standing there looking at this giant icicle, and then it slowly gets down to just like a little nub. By the end of it,
It's dripping water the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah. Apparently, all of North Pole is powered by powered by Christmas magic, which is held in the icicle, and it's supposed to melt every year. I
mean, yeah, no, it's not supposed to melt. It's supposed to be.
I thought it was supposed to like build up every year, and then it like lets out the Christmas magic.
Oh God. Who said you're not dirty? Okay,
Yeah,
you just made it worse. Okay, no, it's very, it's unclear, but we've seen various manifestations of Christmas magic before. There's like a snow globe.
This one literally
an orb, a glowing orb from Santa Claus. Yeah, but this one, it's
Christmas magic equals electricity and or gas.
I mean. Yeah, to have the icicle just be in this like weird, scary cave that's like down the road.
Haunted cave.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminded me, I guess, of the cave that like Rudolph and them go into when they're not supposed to or whatever. But otherwise, I was like, where did they get this concept from? I've never heard of this.
It's weird.
Like Christmas spirit powering things is a very common, like elf and Santa Clauses and all these things.
My guess is they threw it in just to be like, we got to differentiate ourselves somehow. Let's just make a Christmas icicle. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or that's a easy way to visualize that it's the Christmas magic is literally.
And I can't remember what it was.
Smaller.
But there was some line later that did make me think they were like gonna touch on climate change, and then they sort of were like, nah, and then backed away from that and went back to like just Christmas spirit.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
So we also get introduced to Puppy Paws, like you said, who's out, joyriding with the reindeer, the CG reindeer. Comet is the only one who talks.
So what would you like to say about the reindeer, Christian?
I would like to say that I watched the credits and it was a very small team and they clearly did the best they could.
Yes, of course.
We gave so much shit to
It's so
Chet.
funny too how, a telltale sign of like low budget was when every reindeer is a copy of the other. Like there's like all the reindeer look exactly the same. And they even have, it almost kind of feels more like a video game because they have just like a couple of different animation cycles and gestures for everything they say. And, they even like when they run, like they're running perfectly in sync, like frame by frame. And it's like, it wouldn't have been that hard to just offset it a little bit, but I'm sure they had like no money and no time.
Yeah, and of
the
course,
reindeer were unsettling.
We're always just doing this in good fun, and we always appreciate the hard work everybody did.
Yeah.
I'm glad it made so many jobs in Vancouver or whatever. But yeah, they're bad, and we have famously criticized Chet from Santa Claus.
Just not that
3? 2 and 3?
Yeah.
So I don't know, some of those movies for being very bad. But they did that. Those movies tried to have like animatronic reindeer, and then they kind of kicked off from there. But this one, they never filmed a real deer of any kind for this thing. Yeah.
We've seen a lot of other animals, but just never, they could have maybe figured it out, but.
Yeah, I guess there just
maybe
wasn't enough.
Too expensive or whatever.
Yeah, you'd think. I mean, aren't there just reindeer roaming around up there?
Up in Canada? I don't know.
I feel like they might have been able to get like a real reindeer for shots where the reindeer aren't flying, but then it's like you would have had such a jarring difference between reindeers chilling and reindeers flying that they're like, let's just do them all. CG,
Fair.
That's true.
Luckily, we have Comet there to say great things like this.
Oh, that pup sure has a lot to learn before he takes the reins and is responsible for Christmas.
I also think probably one of the
saying the plot out loud.
One of the things that's working in their favor with the VFX of these Buddies movies is that they've obviously got dog snout down.
Yeah.
And it actually probably would have been a lot of R&D and work to get like reindeer mouth muzzle going. And if there's just a couple of scenes where the reindeer are talking, so it's kind of like, why bother doing like a real reindeer CGI snout combo in the way they do for the dogs? And for just a couple of shots.
True. Yeah. So, what did you think of the dog mouth movement? I mean,
well, they've got it down. You know, it's and it's so interesting how like stuff that looks bad when it's married to real stuff can feel good.
Yeah.
Because it's like one of those things where it's like, when they flip over to fully CG puppies, like they look terrible.
Yeah.
But when it's real puppy with just a CG lower snout tracked on, like it's funny. Like one of the hardest things to do in CGI and animation, or in CGI, is animation, like the actual movement of creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they're just like tracking those snouts onto the real movement, like the real head gestures of a real dog, it's like you just get caught up in the movement and you stop paying attention to it after a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, and obviously it's like, I'm sure, they've got the snout workflow down. They've got it cracked. They've got it down to a system from doing all these movies. So that's probably the least of their worries on this movie.
You would think that I'm so sick of these puppies that nothing they do is like funny or cute to me anymore. Yeah. But I would say for some reason, even though I think it's stupid as hell, every time when like Buddha does his meditation, like that still makes me laugh for some reason. The first time he does it in every movie, I'm like, oh God.
And I like on one of the previous Buddies episodes, you mentioned how it kind of contrasts with the live action Lion King movie,
where they do eyebrows.
They were like timid about pushing the eyebrow expressions. But yeah, I love that they were doing eyebrow expressions in addition to the snouts. Mm-hmm. It's actually it's the same technique that they're using now on the Deadpool movies, where his mask is not actually emoting.
Yeah.
But they've found a way to like not have to do a fully CGI head, but they can just project the actual footage onto like a CG double to just squash and stretch it a little bit and just give it a bit more expressiveness. Like they're doing the same workflow on these puppy faces, and it really helps a lot. Especially like I feel like the shots of the Buddha puppy are the strongest example of like they really pulled some emotion. Making him close his eyes when he actually probably didn't close his eyes, obviously. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so what? Puppy Paws is doing like a Princess Jasmine,
like,
I
don't want to do this. I want to fuck around with the elves.
Yeah, and we've seen that. We've seen this in so many movies.
One thing that scared me like very early on is that there's immediately a musical sequence with the elves.
Right.
And I was like, oh no, is this a musical?
I loved how they like didn't have the budget for original songs, so they just kind of like added new lyrics to Jingle Bells.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
The only thing I felt horrible about was like, why, if they know people are gonna sing, why don't they hire people that can sing or like help their actors help their actors a little bit? Yeah, but they're not even just talk singing. It sounds like they're trying to sing, but it's like off key and like
what's Eli's, the actor who plays Eli, the head elf?
Danny
Woodburn. I looked it up, and he's also one of the main elves in Jingle All the Way.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this poor guy, how many times has he had to play an elf or a goblin,
Yeah.
But
he does a great job in this movie.
He did do a great job. Like I said, him, inspiring that teenage mall elf was like, for some reason, one of the more like heartfelt moments of the film. But yeah, he's not an incredible singer. He kind of sings his way through this Jingle Bell thing in the beginning.
And they bring it back at the end too, and like also Santa gets to sing and Santa Paws, and I'm like, oh God.
And we all of these franchises that we do, if it is a family film, it will at some point resort to bringing in songs. And so this is how long it took.
Yeah, pretty long. I did think it was a funny idea that like they work to a song, because we've seen that kind of thing. But I thought it was funny that there's like a switch that not only speeds up the machines, but then they also have to sing faster. Like,
the switch.
Jingle bells, oh my God.
Classic. What is that line from The Emperor's New Groove? Like, why do we even have that?
Oh, yeah.
Why is there a lever that ruins everything in this factory?
Yeah, why?
And that's the catalyst for Puppy Paws' entire like banishment, is that he just pulled this lever that should not exist.
And I love that there's an elf that's like, I just checked it like 10 minutes ago. like they have to constantly be checking, like, is it still on slow?
Yeah.
Okay, that's all we can handle. We can't do medium or fast, but it's still there as an option.
And Santa Paws and Puppy Paws, like, I don't really know anything about dog breeds. So I was literally typing into Google, like, can golden retrievers be albino? You know, I was like, because he looks exactly like them. But it's this dog called a Great Pyrenees, and they're like gigantic, big, fluffy white dogs. So look pretty similar to golden retrievers, but
I thought Puppy Paws looked gigantic compared to
he did. Yeah, well, he could be quite a bit older too. We don't know.
There were some times that they showed him, and I'm like, that's a full-grown dog.
Yeah, but these dogs can grow much bigger than a golden retriever, I think.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Anyways, but he's cute. He's fluffy.
And he just wants to, live his life and have fun.
Classic princeling, behavior. I don't want to take over the family business, blah, blah, blah. But yes, I was shocked that this suddenly became a musical.
Oh, we also get introduced to Eddie, the elf dog.
Oh, right.
Voiced by Richard Kind.
Bing bong.
Which was amazing. He gets to sing for 2 seconds too. And I love the idea that the dog is in charge of the elves.
Right.
He's the boss.
Yeah. Again, more blurriness between who's really in charge up there.
It's like, is it the dogs? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Santa Claus seems pretty tired, so maybe he doesn't know what's happening up there.
Santa Paws did seem much more with it than Santa Claus.
For sure. So Puppy Paws goes through the naughty list and finds Butterball's page, right?
He ate the Thanksgiving turkey.
Yeah, and there's this funny montage of him eating the turkey.
Right.
And decides that this guy's super cool, I gotta go meet him.
Yeah, I did think too, they had the Christmas tree lighting of Fernfield, in which the front row of the choir is only made up of our 5 kids who own the Buddies. Conducted by Deputy Dan, Michael Teagan, who was like 3rd billed in this film. I was like, oh my God, Deputy Dan.
He managed to get stuck upside down yet again.
Yes, and we'll continue, I'm sure, to see him constantly, and he's a Fernfield staple now. After that Christmas tree lighting ceremony, we were introduced because doing a Santa story wasn't enough for this first Christmas outing for the Buddies franchise. They also were like, we're going to take on a Christmas Carol and mix it all in together.
That's why I called myself Mr. Amps earlier.
Yeah. Christopher Lloyd's character's name was literally Mr. Scrooge.
Yes.
Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge.
I was like, okay.
So stupid.
Yeah. Except this little sick kid is named Mikey. They didn't bother trying to name him Tiny
His
Tim.
name wasn't M? Yeah. Well, it's because we've got Tiny.
Because the dog is Tiny. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. We got a sick child who just all he wants is a dog for Christmas. Now, I like Christopher Lloyd in this movie, actually. It
was funny.
We've had dog catchers previously,
right?
But he is like really nailing like the creepy, like this dude is straight out of the rip off of the guy from Home Alone or whatever.
Yeah, but they bothered to like actually give him a backstory that kind of made sense and a business plan. Yeah. Like normally these dog catchers are just getting off on stealing these dogs. This guy was like, well, no, I'm going to make money and also get my revenge on dog kind, Yeah,
I thought he was great. And his introduction scene was so funny. Like we get introduced to Tiny as well, which at the time I didn't know that was going to be a main character. And I was like, oh, that poor Christian dog just wanted to eat a street steak and you stole him. We learn in this movie, you guys, that the dogs worship Jesus, maybe?
Yeah, that was like, that like really took me aback. Like when he finds the steak in the trash and then he starts like praying.
Yeah. He says like, dear Lord, thank you for this.
There was just something so dystopian about it.
Like, is there a dog?
Like
Jesus?
This muddy dog.
There was. Yeah. I mean, I guess they maybe felt that because we're going to do Christmas now, we've got to mention Jesus and God, but these movies have never had anything Christian or Jesus-y about it. I guess that's another reason it's great for you to come here this week for your name. But we've always had Buddha. And so it's an interesting choice to now be like, well, yeah, he's Buddhist, but, lots of Buddhists celebrate Christmas because why not? And we do actually later get a whole scene in Japan, which, it's a whole other thing. But, to be like, we're going to introduce now this idea of Jesus.
Yeah, they sing, the movie ends like with people singing Silent Night. And also there's this whole awkwardly, I thought it was weird montage where people are like praying to Santa Claus. They're like on their knees with their hands, praying, and then literally someone's like, "Please bring back the buddy Santa, amen." Yeah. And I was like,
"Wait a minute,
do kids say amen to Santa and like pray on their knees?"
Yeah,
to
there's
Santa?
a whole like late night chapel scene too, where the only people in the chapel are Mikey and his dad and Mr. Crude.
I literally wrote in my notes, I thought this movie was over, and then Christopher Lloyd had to find God.
Yeah. Well, they were like, "Well, there's a church in Home Alone. We got to make sure they have the same sequence where they meet him at the church." Yeah.
Yes. By the way, I did, because it was a pretty little wooden neighborhood church. I was like, "Is that the haunted church from the first Air Bud?" I looked it up, and they do not look the same, but they kind of did look like the same ambiance, like woodsy Vancouver community church, but no, it's not the same place. Very different, chapel place. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that montage, and we got, because we've had 3 Buddies movies. I have already been so sick of the montage of the 5 kids being like, "Oh, the buddies are gone." Because in the last movie, when they went to space, we even had a mom that was like, "I'm sure he'll be back. He came back last time, didn't he?" And so I was like, maybe we won't get that montage anymore. And we got like 3/4 of the way through this movie, and I was like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And then, of course, it happens, and then they were weirdly praying to Santa.
I was kind of glad that like the kids did take more of a back seat this time, because last episode I was like, can we just get rid of we don't need the kids anymore. Nobody needs them. Mm-hmm. They're boring. They do the same things every time. So it was nice to see that they got a little bit. And in fact, like we don't even like we spend almost like 20 minutes, I feel like, before we even get to the buddies at all.
Yeah, this was a lot more like Snow Buddies, and where even the buddies sort of take a backseat to Shasta and whatever that other kid's name was. Whereas this one is really, really about, Puppy Paws, and I guess, sort of, maybe, we'll find out, explains why they decided to make 2 more movies only about Santa Paws and Puppy Paws.
Yeah.
But we don't even know if the buddies will be in those or not. We'll have to see.
I don't know. We'll find out.
But yeah, I mean, the biggest number in this movie is Tiny's big, somewhere out there
Christmas miracle song.
Christmas.
I can't decide if it's cute or not. Like,
I personally thought it was incredibly cute, and I loved the voice of Tiny, and it was just so sweet. And the dog is just so cute. I was like, oh my God.
But Tiny looks a lot like that dog you guys sometimes watch, Abby.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, what did Gemma think of this movie?
Gemma, she was kind of like meh.
Oh, really? Okay.
We watched 2 movies the same day. We watched Hocus Pocus, and then we watched Santa Buddies, and she was way more into Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, she just knows it's not time yet.
Yeah, she's like, "Why are we watching Christmas? We were just watching witches. Like, what happened here?"
Yeah. I think it's the fact that his singing shots are locked off. Like
wait, is Tiny a boy or a girl?
Oh,
I don't know. That's a good question. I thought it was a girl.
I thought it was a girl too, but then at one point, the little kid Mikey, I think, refers to it as a boy, but I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, but no, I think it's like, actually, this is kind of a nice throwback. So like, I'm a big fan of musicals and musical comedy, and I just feel like one of the quickest ways to suck the life out of any song is to have no camera movement. If you're bringing a song to the screen, I mean, there might be some songs like where narratively it makes sense, but it's like the fact that like the camera is just locked solid on
they were
Tiny,
going for
not moving at all.
Yeah.
And Tiny's just sitting there doing like the same animation loop over.
It is really funny too, because like, I think, was that when Puppy Paws was already in the pound at that point? I think.
Yes. Because Puppy Paws learns about the magic of Christmas from Tiny.
Yes. I thought it was really funny that like after the song was done, you see that they're like I thought they were like across from each other, but they're like in the cages right next to each other. So that means that Tiny was just standing there still the whole time, singing straight at Puppy Paws.
Yeah, he's just standing still. That's all I feel like if there was just even a little bit of camera movement, like orbiting around him, it would have been so nice. But like
they were going for a Tom Hooper Les Mis thing.
Literally, like Tom Hooper.
This was an all-natural performance.
Yeah, they wanted to get Tiny's like snot and tears coming out.
Tiny's I Dreamed a Dream.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I mean, it does look like Tiny was voiced by a young girl. So
yes.
Okay.
What?
But I mean, that doesn't mean that the character.
I would love to see Tom Hooper.
Yeah. So we. What? So another thing we need to start talking about is some of the racism in this movie.
Everything's kind of smooth and going along until suddenly there's a racist mobile that shows up.
Yes.
Actually, I wanted to ask you guys, since you've seen way more of the Buddies movies.
Yeah.
How bad does it get with B-Dog?
This
is pretty much where,
I think this was. I did feel that this was turned up more. This movie. But maybe it was also because Puppy Paws was like mimicking everything too, and completely. There's so many dudes.
But it really is just kind of like these kind of his hip hop speech thing.
Yeah.
You know, his vocal tics that he's doing. Like he doesn't actually verge fully into like saying things that are racist. He doesn't say like that he's in the ghetto or something. Or say racist things like that. He just kind of says dog and bro and you know, my moves and my, you know, whatever.
Yeah. But it's just so you can just feel the writers like walking on eggshells with that character.
I know. Skylar Gisondo. We'll have to see him in Superman soon. But anyways, yes, the racism mobile, because Eli decides to go pick up the letters from all over the world.
Yeah, he's got to pick up all the letters.
Yeah, and he uses Christmas magic to transform it into apparently regionally appropriate vehicles.
Like mail vehicles? Or
an incredibly fake U.S. Postal Service vehicle. And what were some of the other ones?
It was the Indian, I don't know what the vehicle is. But that was funny because they didn't even go to India in the montage.
They sure didn't.
No, and also like, you know, okay, it's kind of cool, I guess, that it switches into a regional thing, but then he also does like an accent.
Yes.
When he says like, now I'm in India, he has like an accent, and I'm just like,
he does a Apu situation.
It's like, that's not making it cool anymore. It's not cool anymore.
Right. But speaking of India...
Oh, you know who has, you know, we're talking again about Magic Mind, you guys.
Yeah.
And the reason we brought up India is because this amazing mental performance shot, it's this green drink, and it has all these amazing, like high quality, super healthy ingredients. And one of them, is ashwagandha. And if you don't know what ashwagandha is, it's a small shrub that is native to India and North Africa. And it's, you know, widely cultivated in many countries, including the United States. And the root and berries of the plant are used medicinally. And, you know, also featured in the Magic Mind drink.
Yeah, and one of the other really cool and unique ingredients in Magic Mind is lion's mane mushrooms, which are considered a superfood due to the very high levels of antioxidants, beta-glucans, and other beneficial compounds that have, you know, just cool health benefits, help you with your mental performance, help you just feel a little bit more energy like throughout your day.
That's right. And we are on the Magic Mind train. We've been doing this, taking the mental performance shots that they offer, you know, for what, 4 months now?
Yeah.
It's pretty,
At least, yeah.
It's great. And, you know, it tastes good. You can have it in the morning, have it with your coffee or not. You know, I mentioned this one other time, but I always like to like have one sip of coffee, one sip of Magic Mind. And that's kind of been good for me.
Yeah. And I you know, advisedly or not, drink while driving with Magic Mind because I need to stay awake during my horrible commute. And, it helps just kind of get your body going for the day and kind of wake you up a little bit.
That's right. And if any of those tasty ingredients sound good for you and the benefits that we've been seeing, we have a special discount code for you guys in this 4th month here. It's great. It's very special, but I do have to say that it's only available for the first 10 orders. So if you want to take advantage of it, get out there right now and go to magicmind.com/sequelr40. That's magicmind.com, sequelr40. That's the word sequel, the letter R, the numbers 40. And use my code SequelR40. Again, that's sequel R, the letter R, and 40 to get 40% off your subscription. And again, this is only available for the first 10 people.
Oh my gosh.
You got to get out there and do it.
Do it right now.
Do it right now. Do it. Enjoy all the tasty ingredients from India. Don't drink it doing anything inappropriate. Let's get back to Santa Buddies.
Yes.
We talked about the racist mobile. That's not the only racist thing in this movie.
Oh, no.
Now, Christian, what I was going to say is we'll get into this later, but we did have, I think the last movie is where we kind of saw, was it the last movie where we saw some glimpses of other countries? That was just like a teaser for what we're going to see.
Yes, because when they were in space, we saw like people watching the news being like, oh my God, are they going to make it back? But it was Mostly white countries, I think.
Except for, but remember they had those dogs in Mexico that were all wearing sombreros.
They did.
Yes.
That was a little hint.
They
but
were
otherwise,
chihuahuas.
it was like the queen and her corgis and like, just random,
that was just like
Russian
preparation.
people because
Yes,
the Russian
yeah.
people wanted the Russian dog to come back too.
Oh my God.
So we had that, but this, and okay, I understand the instinct to be like, well, Christmas happens all over the world. Santa flies all over the world. So we got to like show this by showing different countries. We've seen it in other movies before, but this one just makes it so racist.
Yeah, let's set this up. So like, this is a big Christmas movie, right? There's lots of they maybe like skimped on the VFX a little bit, but they went pretty hard. I feel like on the score and the music. Like the music sounds appropriately very John Williams-y. There's actually stuff that sounds like it's like totally ripped off from Polar Express, the Alan Silvestri score.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it's like the exact same rhythm, but the melody's slightly different.
Yeah.
But we get multiple like big like choir pieces.
Yeah.
And there's this like centerpiece song. It's not the Christmas Miracle song by Tiny, sorry. There's a centerpiece song called Share the Joy, I believe, right?
Season of Joy?
Season of Joy? Yeah, Season of Joy. Yeah, that's right. Season of Joy. And the first time, it's in the film, like in the middle somewhere. And the first time it played, I was like, hey, that's actually kind of sounds like it could be a fun song. I mean, it's like, it's got the appropriate kind of like holiday feel to it. It's kind of got that big orchestral sound. And I was like, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Sounds great.
Yeah.
But then the song comes back for this big montage where eventually it's all up to Puppy Paws and the buddies to save Christmas by delivering to all these different countries. And I feel like the song starts as you would, because they're in London, England. They start in London, England. Just sounds like normal song.
No, they're kind of singing it with a British accent,
Yeah,
like
maybe
a
a
Charles
little-
Dickens vibe.
Maybe a little. I didn't pull a clip of that one because I was like, it sounds good.
No,
That
it
one's
wasn't
not
that
so
bad.
bad. But it gets like progressively worse
Yeah.
as it goes along. And let me play these clips and we can discuss.
Well, and we should say too that the buddies at this point there's not enough Christmas spirit. The reindeer can't do it. The buddies are taking over, and they are the ones flying puppy paws all over.
Yeah.
The
And
world.
as they go to each new country, the elves kind of announce it in front of the, everyone gathered to watch the
Yes.
giant map to see where everyone is.
Yeah.
And so they go to London, England, and then they go to
Paris, France. Paris, je t'adore.
and I didn't include
Yeah.
all the things, but they start singing in French, okay? But
Which
that's-
okay, it's in French. They're
This one's
speaking
not
French.
so bad.
Yeah.
Next up, okay, we should also say they go to France. There's like a dog wearing like a beret.
Oh yeah. So each buddy has a little moment with someone in a different
Yeah.
country. So Rosebud's like, "Oh my god, I love your hat," or whatever.
Yeah, and the dog says nothing.
Yeah.
It just goes like,
It
I don't
reminded
speak
me
English.
of how like in the parody film Team America, like every country is portrayed through like a reductive American
Yes.
lens.
Yeah.
Like Paris, France is like literally just like the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre. Like that's
Right.
the entirety of the city.
This- oh my
And
God, what a great, comp,
and
yeah.
and then like when they go to like North Korea, like there are buildings made out of like Chinese takeout food containers. Like that's what the buildings are made
Yeah.
out of.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay. So what else do we get?
They so after France, they go to Sydney, Australia.
Love your hat. Merry Christmas.
Sydney, Australia, mate.
Ugh. Eli, stop.
Have
So
you
that
seen
one
the
is-
behind the scenes video of the choir performing this?
No.
It's
Oh my
so
God.
funny. I was trying to find like VFX breakdowns for this movie and they don't exist, but the one thing that does come up is like a featurette about the recording of this song, which is so funny.
It's
'cause
an all-white choir,
Yeah,
right?
'cause it's just it's an all-white choir like performing the part where it turns Jamaican and the part where it turns Japanese.
Oh no! Spoilers. No, I'm kidding.
Sorry.
It's totally fine. It's
I've
totally
been
fine.
known to criticize local white choirs for insisting on singing some sort of African spiritual or our favorite song Hanukkah in Santa Monica, sung by an all Christian choir.
That's a real
Probably
song?
it's a real
Oh,
song. Yeah.
oh my.
But yeah, this is a whole thing.
Hold on. Okay, so after I have to load up these other. I realized I loaded.
There's too many
the incorrect clips.
Here.
So after they go to Australia, which I should say also in Australia, don't forget that the present they're delivering is a boomerang.
Yeah, not like they got enough of those.
I also thought, I feel like this movie is where children are learning like the cliche stereotypes about those countries. Like this is probably some kids' first exposure to the concept of Australia.
Yeah, that's why it's like
everyone asks for a boomerang for Christmas.
It's really rough because it's like okay, it's a great concept to like, let's include all these countries, but like not like this.
It was just very reductive.
So after Australia, they go all the way to
Tokyo, Japan.
No.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, even when he is announcing it, it's already racist. He's like, Tokyo, Japan.
Yeah,
like, it's so bad. I can do it because I'm Japanese and I'm so offended by this. I was just like dying. And former guest Marcus Lau and I have an ongoing joke that like anytime the Asian thing is about to happen in the movie, there's always like a gong and then like a ding, 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 like this whole, string instrument, like Asian sounding, it was just terrible. And of course the house is all like tatami mats and minimalist like decorations and like
the kid comes down. Yeah.
And I already talked about how like you have Buddha and now you're celebrating Christmas. Many people in Japan who are Shinto or Buddhist also celebrate Christmas because they don't give a crap about Christianity and they're like, oh, presents, Christmas, like, and actually like eating KFC is the big thing that they do there on Christmas. So like that would have actually been funny and accurate, but instead they decided to show this kid. But you know what? The Japanese kid was so cute that I almost kind of forgave it because he was really adorable.
Yeah. Oh man.
But it's bad.
Yeah.
And then it just gets even worse.
At this point, I'm like rolling my eyes like, oh my God, this is so
You're like,
bad.
how can I show this to my child?
And now she's just watching it. Yeah. And then this next one happened, and this is the one where it's like so ridiculous that I just couldn't help but laugh because it's like so bad.
It's bad.
It's so bad. They go here next.
The island of Jamaica.
The season of gold, rosy red cheeks and pink and gold.
The island of Jamaica.
No, please,
it's so
God.
bad. It's so bad.
There's the dog with dreads.
Oh God,
it's terrible.
You know,
it is a black dog fully, but then it also has dreads. It's just like, ugh.
I was also like, oh man, I'm so glad that he didn't add like a man in there. And then I was like, but wait a minute. I don't know if you can hear that in the lyrics. Let me play it again.
The snow be falling? Oh no!
And I guarantee that's a bunch of white people singing that. I'm sure you saw the behind the scenes.
That's pretty funny.
Was there at least one black person in the choir?
I mean, I don't think they showed the Jamaica part. Like, hopefully,
there's no way it was the same choir throughout. Yeah. And not to be outdone, they go to one last place.
Yeah.
Mexico City, Mexico.
And luckily, when they arrive, chips and salsa are out in a bunch of burritos.
Instead of cookies and milk, they leave bean burritos.
Yeah, because just so that
so crazy.
So that Butterball can be like, bean burritos. Yeah. I'm like, no one leaves out bean burritos for Santa. Yeah. Mexico has a huge array of delicious cookies that they could be left out.
Oh God, this is so. I was just like,
it's so painful. No. It's so painful.
The actual last place to go to is Fernfield, Washington.
Yeah, which is just as important as Tokyo, London, Sydney, Mexico City, and the island of Jamaica.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's so funny because they keep cutting back to everyone watching this and like following along, and as soon as they get to a new country, they're like, Santa stands up like, oh my God. And like he does that, he stands up like that when they go to Fernfield, Washington, like, oh my God, are they gonna do it?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Fernfield, Washington is close to the end of the route, but they do still need to go to Hawaii.
I mean, when they show all they show them delivering these presents, and it takes so long. I'm like, there's no way they're doing all these.
Also, wouldn't they have gone to Australia first?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or something.
I don't know. They went straight to London first.
Yeah.
I just want to see like the boardroom where it was decided which countries are the buddies going to.
Right.
Like,
well, they have to have one that they can
Disney
make a joke.
Yeah, they got to go to all the most, stereotype heavy countries.
Yeah.
Probably.
But like, what is the stereotype that like Mexican people eat a lot? Like, I don't think that's a stereotype. Like,
no, I think just something that they can easily mimic in the music, and also like, oh, they can sing in Spanish, and then we can show that it's got chips and salsa out, just like at whatever Chili's that you go to.
I feel like you could have done Ireland very well.
Yeah,
the music could have turned Irish for a
and
second.
then there would have been a leprechaun.
So I'm just like so curious. Like, I wonder if there was like some sort of financial shareholder reasoning behind like which maybe the buddies movies perform best in these countries.
Maybe. Maybe
these are the countries the buddies are going to visit in the Christmas one. Like,
could be.
What are the discussions happening
it's
behind
just so,
closed doors?
I mean, the song is so ridiculous that the song changes.
Yeah.
The Jamaica one. Oh my God. Yeah, I can't even.
It's a lot. And okay, so one effect that I appreciated because it actually wasn't CG is the puppy paws and the buddies running down the chimneys, because they basically just made a little brick,
They made them
tunnel for them.
Spider-Man powers.
That did look cool. Yeah.
So that was cute. Yeah. But so we talked in Space Buddies a lot about how they made this whole effort to like make these harnesses for the dog and put clear thread on their ears to make it look like the ears were like in 0G or whatever. And this one, to make them fly, they were just like, we're just gonna make one animation and repeat it the whole time of them flying. It was fully like
really fully CG.
Yeah. And also it was offensive because okay, so shockingly, we actually get to mention a callback, like you were saying, to Snow Buddies, which is not related to Christmas, but is about like Alaskan dog sled racing.
I think we speculated about too in one of the episodes where we're like, do you think they're gonna use their skills of sled pulling?
So they kind of did, but also like it was really bad because they only have the 5 buddies, so you're already like in an odd number, and in Snow Buddies, they made a huge point where Rosebud is the one who gave all the assignments based on like the dog's different skills and where they fit in the layout. Mm-hmm. And she was in the front, I think, with Buddha, because they were the 2 smartest who should be steering. And then you had like the 2, like heavyweights in the back and then the other 2 in the middle or whatever. But this time she doesn't even get to be in the front because you need to have frickin' B-Dog up there so his nose can just randomly
like
turn red. Ugh, it was horrible.
He's called Rudog.
They're really I feel like they really did Rosebud dirty in this one. Like they really were just like, she's our little sister, that's it.
But hey, she still gets to wear a pink Santa hat while everyone else has regular red ones.
I guess. I don't know.
I did think the scene where we glossed over this, but there's this whole sequence where Puppy Paws goes to like hang out with each of the
I actually
buddies.
loved that.
And I was having a fun time being like, what is his magic thing gonna do next?
Yeah.
Well, I just love that because I was like, in the first third of the film, I was like, Puppy Paws sucks as a character, and then all the buddies hated him too.
Yeah, they didn't like him that much. Yeah.
Yeah, at first. Yeah, I was like, oh wow, yeah, the buddies also are just like find him as intolerable as I do.
Yeah, and most of the things that the Christmas ice crystal that he wears were pretty basic, but I did like that the Mud Bud splash turned into like Christmas.
That was funny.
Stamps
cool.
like all over, but
It
the
felt
mom was still mad, so I was like, well, who cares?
It felt kind of randomized, which I thought was funny. Like he turns the Buddha into a snowman.
Yeah.
And Rosebud gets the like horrible Christmas elf.
Yeah, but then later she says that she likes the elf outfit on the other dog, so it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. Should we do a Child Star check-in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh boy.
Child Star check, Child Star checking in, Child Star check-in. They're a Child Star, and we're checking in now.
Okay. Thank you, AI, for that jingle. All right. So the Child Star check-ins for this have kind of like ebbed and flowed more than I thought, because they tend to hire up for, 2 or 3 movies, and then once the kids are aged too much, then they throw them all out. Even though these movies all take place in a very short amount of time, because I mean, we have had 2 Christmases though, because Christmas passed and the Snow Buddies. But anyways, not much time has passed, but these kids are getting older by the minute, so we got to get rid of a bunch of them. That being said, I did talk about the cute little Japanese boy, who might be one of the most successful kids in this movie, actually. Brandon Nomura. He is in Pachinko and also in Shogun. He was a named character. Oh, wow. So good for him.
Sweet.
And then, we've got the buddies and their owner kids. And a few of them will be around later, so we don't need to talk about them right now. But it is time to say goodbye to some of them. So Field Kate has been Buddha for quite a while, and he actually even recorded the entire movie of Treasure Buddies, and then they kicked him out in post because he sounded too old, and they re-recorded him with a whole nother kid.
Oh no!
So even though he will not be credited in Treasure Buddies next time,
give us the Field Kate cut.
I know, right? Yeah. So Field Kate's
crazy.
gone. Field Kate is really well known for a very critical role of the young version of someone in a TV show, which is young Ned in Pushing Daisies, which that is a very, very important little kid role, because that's almost the whole pilot, and they come back to him many, many times throughout the series. So he's really known for that, and he also is one of the leaders of his rock band called Fencer, and he's also a fencer.
Oh, love it.
So, yeah, that's what he's up to. Ryan Grantham, who is Sam, he is Rodney in The Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and was most recently seen on Riverdale, and interestingly is also a dog voice in a little sequel called Marley and Me, The Puppy Years.
Oh my God.
So I don't know if we'll ever come around to that one, but
it's
if
a
we
dog
do,
voice?
Yeah.
Did Marley...
It's a different dog. It's not Marley.
Oh, okay.
He's not Marley. But
okay, I was like,
yeah,
there was no
other
talking
dogs.
animals in that one, was there?
I guess they talk. During the puppy years, they talked.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So, all right. So Pete, who is Mudbud's kid, has been around for Space Buddies and Santa Buddies, Quinn Lord. And he is one of the main characters, I guess, in Trick or Treat, one of your favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
And he also played Hansel in Once Upon a Time. Zoolander. So
amazing.
Or maybe is it Hansel when you say Hansel and Gretel, not Hansel?
Hansel and Gronsel? No, yeah.
Whatever. All right, so that's what's up with Quinn Lord. Sophia Ludwig, who is Alice, Rosebud's owner, the girl who famously replaced Bob Chapek's daughter, has been with us for Space Buddies and Santa Buddies. She did grow up there in Vancouver, but then after going to college, she moved to Salt Lake City, and she is now a creator strategy manager for something. I really hope she's advising one of those Mormon wives from Hulu, because they are hilarious. But who knows? She's doing something with creators in Salt Lake City. Okay, so Caitlin Marr is Tiny, who you talked about already. It's a little girl doing the voice for Tiny. And interestingly, Tiny, so I didn't know this, but we have started to talk a little bit about Air Bud Studios and all of these other animal movies that they have. And even though it's a different dog, Tiny is the star of the Pup Star series.
Oh my God.
So it's a completely different looking dog. It's not the same dog at all. But it is Caitlin Marr, and the character is named Tiny.
That's so funny.
Unclear to me, if there's actually any continuity between this, and we're definitely not going to find out this year, or I'm not anyway.
I was like, I want a Tiny movie after I saw this.
So I couldn't tell if you were being facetious, but
no, I didn't know.
There are 5 or 6 Pup Star movies, and
God.
Caitlin Marr will continue to play Tiny and to act in many, many other Air Bud Studios movies. So Billy is Gig Morton. He's been around for a couple movies as well as B-Dog's boy. So the one who has to wear chains and do dancing, sort of. And he's still acting.
He looked pretty old in this one. He was super tall.
Yeah. So they stretched his out, I think, one more movie than a lot of his compatriots here. But yeah, he was most recently seen on Yellow Jackets and is still acting. Rosebud Liliana Mumi, I kind of mentioned her before because we have seen her before in the Cheaper by the Dozen movies, as well as the sister in the second and third Santa Claus movies. Which, by the way, I realize now they never mentioned that girl in the Santa Claus's TV show. They go back to Charlie, but they don't talk about her.
That's true.
Which now I'm like, wait a minute.
What happened?
Anyways.
What happened?
And she now is very, very busy doing like countless Nickelodeon voices on those animated shows.
Cool.
And finally, Mikey, the sick little kid that really, really wants to adopt Tiny. Did you recognize him?
He did look familiar, but I did not fully recognize.
He's, I guess, the main character in Insidious 1, 2, and comes back for 5 recently. Like, so he did those Insidii.
Didn't even put that together.
And then does a bunch of other things, and then like goes to college and does a little acting here and there, and then came back, I guess, recently for Insidious 5, which I didn't watch, but does that ring a bell to you?
Yes.
That the kid came back?
They kind of bring it back. Yeah, they bring it back to the original crew. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, that's what he's up to. He also is an aspiring music producer, and he's out on Instagram looking for beats.
All right.
Okay.
So, anyways, that's the end of the Child Star check-in for now. So many of these kids will be returning in various things.
And if I can piggyback off the check-in, I thought it was noteworthy that the VFX supervisor on this movie is still working. He went on.
Okay, the way that you phrased that was
he was a VFX producer on the new Venom movie, but I thought it was the most noteworthy that he was a VFX producer on Detective Pikachu.
Yes.
I just picture him being on set like, listen, I know how to get a kid talking to a fluffy CGI.
Yeah.
Kid. Like, listen, I wrote
this.
the book on it.
Amazing. Hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh man. All right. Well,
What else?
What else happens here? We got. There was one other thing. Eliz. We were joking about her dirty mind this time.
No,
around.
I'm not. Why are you? I sent that so that it wouldn't be brought up.
You sent it so that we could have this exact clip play during the podcast.
It's my responsibility to get myself off, not puppy pauses.
Okay, I sent a picture of my TV with the caption saying that. And we should just not talk about this any further. Let's move on.
I just thought it was funny because I think I would have heard that and not even thought about it. You sent it and I was like, what the fuck?
I think it's because
I didn't know the context
I watch
yet.
everything with captions, and when you see it in print, it somehow becomes more real. I don't know.
I mean, it is really funny that you can just get that clip. Yeah, it's funny. Pretty funny.
Christian, so
yes.
Anything else? So one, like, to me, the very worst VFX besides the reindeer is when they choose to walk between like Santa's workshop and like the cave, or when they show them approaching Santa's, like that is very, very bad.
I thought you were gonna talk about the breakdance.
I was about to say that.
No, I mean we can't talk about that.
I thought that was the worst.
I actually made a list of like what I thought were the worst.
Here we go.
Okay, let's hear it.
And then the surprisingly good VFX moments too. And yeah, absolute top of the list is when
breakdancing.
Hand off to the breakdancing dog. I also thought this doesn't really stick out as bad, but just the whole look of the North Pole was so mid. Like the workshop inside looks really cool.
Yes.
But just the exterior.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
A cabin in the middle of nowhere.
It looks so bad.
In the middle of a CD-ROM.
They're like, we don't even have money to put trees anywhere.
No.
No, it's just like one sad little cabin in this barren tundra. And then like when they're almost done delivering all the presents and they're like taking the sleigh back and the sleigh spins out of control. It's like nothing actually happened. You just tell the animator just like slammed the rotation value from 0 to maximum. They just all start spinning inexplicably. That was so funny. Surprisingly good VFX modes. I'd be curious to know, did you guys notice that Eddie, the dog, Eddie's hat is CG most of the time?
I did not notice that.
I started noticing it like halfway through, and it's real in the wide shots of Eddie. If it's like a wide shot of Eddie just like running around, it's real. But there's so many. Anytime it's like a tight close up on Eddie and he's just talking, his hat is CG. It's one of those things that if you go back and watch it, you're like, oh my god, yeah. But I think it must have been some sort of situation where like maybe just like that dog, like maybe they had like a different dog for the wides and the closest, and the
Yeah.
dog and the closest like
Couldn't wear the hat,
couldn't
yeah.
stand having, because I was like, wait a minute, are like, do the dogs just hate wearing hats? Is that a thing?
Probably.
But then there was like but then other dogs, like they had real hats on them. I was like, I think just for whatever reason, like maybe that dog just like hated that little,
Or maybe
Christmas
the
hat.
close-up dog had like a extra big spot on his forehead or something
Yeah.
where it totally would look like a different
but
dog.
no,
Yeah, it could
so like most of the close-ups of Eddie, his hat where he's talking, like his hat is CG.
Okay.
And it's just like, it's one of those things where you're not paying attention to it, so it totally works. And then there was this one shot at the very end where they have Christopher Lloyd. Mikey's family has Christopher Lloyd over for dinner, and they do that like camera pulls back through the window shot as the snow is falling. I was like, oh yeah, that looked nice. Most of the falling snow is probably also CG or comped as well. I'm guessing that because it's like if you had a shot where it was a puppy and you had to make it talk and there was snow falling in front of its mouth, that would just be nightmarish. So that makes me think probably a lot of and that's like a common thing in most movies, like rain or snow. That's like actively falling is like comped in, because it's very easy to comp in, and just to do it for real would be a production nightmare.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Those are great observations. I would not even notice
that's
those
awesome.
things.
I was gonna say one other fun thing we should talk about is speaking of Eddie, the elf dog. There's a fun sequence where he starts talking inside the puppy pound.
Yeah, that was the sequence where I
Oh
noticed
yeah, it was like Toy
That's the
Story.
where he does the Toy Story thing of like,
Yeah.
I'm going to deactivate the magical force field that makes humans can't understand us.
Well, it was so funny. It's because obviously the entire beginning of the film and everything, the dogs are talking to Santa and everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think like, wait, how are these humans hearing that? I didn't even think
Well, and in
anything
the
about
Space
that.
Buddies, we heard them over recording, and it was just like little puppy noises when they were talking. Yeah.
So they have this fun sequence where like someone's suddenly talking in the dog pound, and Christopher Lloyd's character like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And I was like,
He falls over.
yeah. I was like, do you guys think if that happened to you, you would suddenly believe in Christmas, or would you be like, I've gone insane?
I don't know if I believe in Christmas, but I just believe that dogs could talk.
Because he hears the dog talk, he sees the dog walk through the bars, and then like right after that, he watches the dogs fly on the sleigh back.
Right. But yeah, he fully does the like Toy Story, like us toys could see everything. So play nice. Like
it's pretty funny. Yeah, that was great. I just thought it was funny because it's the first time we've seen like a normal person be able to hear the dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, the other elf guy like freaks out when he hears the dog too. That's pretty funny.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the teen elf. Yeah.
The teen elf.
So we talked a lot about the music in this, and one thing we haven't talked about that much. We talked about Alison Stoner when she did her song, but this one has so I see these music videos a lot because I click on the IMDb so many times when I'm doing the Child Star check-in that for some reason the first image is like IMDb will prioritize a video instead of a picture as like the main, hero cover image. And so I noticed it's like this kid singing, and so I click on it and it's like this music video that they must have used to promote the movie on like Disney Channel or whatever. It's not even in the movie, but they recorded Steve Rushton, who was this kid that at the time Disney was convinced like this is gonna be the kid. Like they carted him out for everything. So he sang like, and this is actually toward the end of it, he sang the theme song to Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Do you know what song I'm talking about? Like,
I didn't watch any of
We
those
have
shows.
a sweet life or whatever. I don't even know how it goes. But yeah, so he sang that theme song. He sang like 2 or 3 songs for the Hannah Montana movie that are not like background tracks, that to be on those. And he sang some songs for Wizards of Waverly Place, and they would basically cart him out whenever they had to like release like a Wizards of Waverly Place, the album, which was like, 2 songs from the show and a bunch of other random things, So he was doing a bunch of those, and this Santa Buddies, Santa Claus is Coming to Town that he did was like one of the later things before he just stopped being on everything.
I didn't like the last couple of movies. I had time to dive into these like DVD menu things, and I didn't have time to do that.
Okay.
But maybe I'll do that afterwards because there's
Yeah.
always some hilarious crap.
Are you're finding those online or you're buying them?
They're on
movies?
YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't buy these ones because they're all on Disney
They're all on
Plus,
Disney
and I was like,
Plus.
do I really need to have these
Yeah.
14? It was different with the Land Before Time because it was like a collection. That came
that was
together.
like a scavenger hunt finding all those.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I mean, yeah, the song, the film ends with this like version of Silent Night where the kid who can't sing sings with the dad who can't sing, and then everyone sings.
Oh yeah, the sick kid's dad was the dad from Phil of the Future.
Oh,
whatever as well. So yeah,
everyone has a happy ending. And we get to hear the Share the Joy song in its entirety again
and
during
the
the credits.
The choir made up of the 5 Air Buddies kids.
Oh yeah,
and everybody else.
Classic.
But yeah, it is again very Jesus-y at the end there for some weird reason.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
A little bit weird. I'm like, I don't know what's going on here.
I mean, you never know with a family film, right? So I'm kind of like, are these movies? Did they just do it because it was Christmas, or are these movies going to start bending that way? I don't know.
I feel like they just did it. They just like towed the line a little bit for Christmas, so that
and the public domain Christmas songs, most of them are more Christian related.
There's not a ton of secular ones.
The ones, So
that's probably why. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to say about Santa Buddies before we get a rating system from someone?
They also replaced Sniffy or Snifty. What was it?
Oh, yeah, Sniffer.
Don Knotts is now passed away, so they replaced him with somebody doing a Don Knotts impression, a famous actor.
What
but
was?
now I can't remember.
Let me pull it up. It is Tim Conway.
Tim Conway doing a Don Knotts impression. So,
I was actually surprised to see Sniffer back, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know why they...
Because I thought he was more connected to the other sheriff who passed away as well.
Yeah.
So I didn't think he was going to keep coming back.
The sheriff was previously the old guy from Old School. And he also, the movie killed him.
One of the movies killed him too.
The same time they killed Don Knotts,
A lot of people and dogs dying in the
for being in sequels.
Movies.
Anything else, Christian?
Yeah, my last thing that I wrote down is I thought it was so funny how when all the dogs are finally released from their cages, they're like not allowed to graphically attack Christopher Lloyd because it's like he's on the ground and they're all running at him. It's like, oh, they're about to exact their revenge, and they just have to like lick him and tickle him because it's a children's film.
He's like, oh, I'm ticklish.
Yeah, oh, they got me. Oh, I've been oppressing them, but their instinct is to lick me.
And also the way he was reacting, I feel like they told Christopher Lloyd, okay, we're just gonna have like 3 dogs right now, but then we're gonna put in like more dogs in post so you don't look so ridiculous. And they just didn't. So it's just 3 dogs, and he's like,
I thought that was the moment where he was like gonna turn good because he was like seemingly having fun with that.
Yeah.
But then immediately afterwards he's like, no dinner for you, Tiny.
Yeah.
For what you did. How dare you tickle me? I'm not gonna feed you tonight.
Oh, Tiny.
Poor Tiny.
It was a huge steak that Tiny ate. It was bigger than Tiny.
Street steaks are the best.
And you got to pray.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, for this steak. That was so weird. I mean, yeah, that was and the praying to Santa. I can't.
Dear
very
Santa,
strange. Very strange.
Amen. In Santa's name, amen.
In Santa's name we pray. Amen. Very strange. I was like, what is happening? Okay, we got to do a rating system. Tyler's not here.
Christmas, was it called the Christmas Icicle?
The Christmas Icicle? Yeah. How many melting phallic Christmas icicles would you give this film, Santa Buddies?
You go first.
Me? I feel like, talking about this movie made me feel like the people that post on Common Sense Media where they're like, this has a lot of heartwarming things, but watch out, there's lots of racist stereotypes.
They don't say that. They don't care about the racist stereotypes.
I think they would maybe say
care if like someone gets punched.
They would probably say something more like, oh, there's some outdated representation of other countries. They wouldn't call it racist straight up.
Right.
But I feel like this one, I don't know, it's fine. If I don't know, if you've got like a small child, I just don't feel good about obviously the all the stereotype stuff and horrible accents and things like that being played for laughs and all that. So that's not great, but overall, like if you take that stuff out, I feel like they did a pretty good job of putting together like a fun family Christmas film. So maybe I'll give it like 2.5 Christmas icicles. Phallic melting Christmas icicles.
Honestly, you could just like redub the accents and the movie would then be like fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, seriously. If they
he
just
was
were
just
like,
look, I'm in a car from India now. Now I'm in this thing, you know, like.
It's like, they're going to Jamaica. They don't have to say it like they do, you know?
And they could still have done like the steel drum thing or whatever and just not do those accents.
You might have to re-record some of the lyrics in the song too.
Yeah.
You know.
But by the way, this song is available to purchase for your local youth choir. I sent Justin the link and was like, send this to your choir friends.
That was insane. Well, that's another thing that shows that like this must have been pretty popular and that people actually really like that song because why else would they print that, you know?
Well, you know, to make money.
Well, I know, but they're only going to make money if people buy it. So people must have been clamoring for like, oh my God, this is such a great like.
People are always desperate for a different Christmas song to sing that no one's heard before.
There's probably some, you know, era of kids in middle school and high school that sang this song.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, it's so cool. It represents all the countries and da-da-da-da. You know, I'm sure that someone was like, oh my God, I sang that growing up. It's terrible.
But by the way, the guy who's been doing these songs ever since original Air Bud is named Bram Wenger, which I'm like, that has got to be a music. Like, do you think he's related to the music stand company?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Anyways. Okay. So I am also gonna, you said 2.5.
I said 2.5. I was gonna say maybe 3, but then I was like,
Is that out of 5?
No, it's out of 10.
Oh wow.
We're in a bad mood.
Sorry.
We are really anti-racist here.
It's not Christmas yet.
Yeah. No, I guess I don't like halves. So I'm just going to give it an even 2 because, oh my God, that Japanese accent was just so unnecessary. It didn't have the gong, but the music styling was just not it.
Yeah, come on now.
And just all the race accents are so bad. B-Dog is out of control. I didn't like that Rosebud was really demeaned more, and not demeaned, but just didn't get as much to do as she has in the previous movies.
She was pretty sidelined, yeah.
She really had nothing to do in this one. I mean, I literally wrote in my notes, like, please God, stop these accents. Like, I was praying to Santa, dear Santa, please stop the racist accents in this movie. Like, it was just crazy. It just distracted me so much I could not even appreciate, like, you know, the Puppy Paws little bratty prince storyline and, you know, whatever else was happening. But yeah.
Christian,
I could be a little more optimistic.
Yeah.
I'll give it 3 melting Christmas icicles out of 10.
Okay.
I like it.
I feel like, it's just, there's nothing to grab onto emotionally or narratively. But like, I feel like if you just need a Christmas entertainment film to put in front of your like 3-year-old children, it gets the job done.
Here's hoping that one of the other 2 Christmas movies we're gonna watch in this series is not racist and better to show for kids.
Yeah, maybe we'll find out. Like we did. So next we will leave Christmas behind briefly, right? No. Oh, it's immediately next.
We immediately go into the next Christmas thing.
Oh my gosh.
Which is, so this one came out, Santa Buddies, in 2009. In 2010. It must have been so successful, the Santa Buddies movie, that they create a prequel film called The Search for Santa Paws.
Okay. Well, this one, by the way, is called Santa Buddies in most things, but then sometimes you'll see it as Santa Buddies, The Legend of Santa Paws.
Which is kind of weird, and that has got to be like, since they ended up making these other Santa Paws movies, they went back and been like,
so that you would know.
It's not in the film even. It just shows the same logo that they've been showing this whole time. It just says Santa Buddies.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess the prequel, maybe we just won't have any buddies, which will be wacky.
Tom Bosley died, so they got to go with a young Santa Paws. Who's gonna die next? Oh, God. It should be interesting, I guess. Like, maybe we will get all those answers about what the fuck does Santa Paws do.
Christmas icicle. I'll find out.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Did you guys notice that in the opening shot of Air Buddies, like one of the opening shots of like the town, there was a Freemason logo? Like, prominent.
Oh, no.
Yeah. This is like going back to the first Air Buddies.
Like on the City Hall?
Yeah, like when they're just doing establishing shots of the town. Yeah. There was a building that prominently had a
Freemason that wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
I was like, what? There's lore.
We did in this movie too get a horrible 3D map of a 3D model map of Fernfield at one point.
Yeah.
That looked really bad. Like an above air.
Did it show the wine country?
No, I don't think so.
I feel like the writers probably have inside jokes about some sort of sinister underpinning like evil magic society that is like bringing these dogs to life or something. Like,
yeah. Well, maybe we can find out in Mason Buddies.
Yeah.
Oh boy!
That's
all
where
right,
it's all headed.
All right, you guys. I think we've had enough Santa buddies for now, but we'll be back next time for the search for Santa Paws. But first, we want to say thank you to Christian Klein for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Christian, where can
so fun.
Obviously we're gonna post up the links to the music video and the short. But where else can people follow your work or
check out the music video is called Bed by 9. It's out on Big Time Macca's platforms, so he's on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And then the short film is called Sweet Nothings. You can find that links to that on my Instagram, which is just at Christian M. Klein. And then my website is christianmklein.com.
Sweet. I highly recommend you check those things out. They're both really funny. Good stuff. Before we go, Eliz, where can people reach out?
Yeah, well, you can also see or listen at least to us on YouTube at Sequel Rights YouTube channel, and find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sequel Rights, or send us your emails to sequelrights@gmail.com.
And please, if you can, take some time to, give us that Christmas present.
Miracle.
Christmas miracle. Rate and review us on whatever platform you listen to. It goes a long way. It really helps us out, get new listeners and everything. So that would be great. And obviously, before we leave, we got to leave you with a brand new AI song.
Oh, boy.
I messaged Eliz earlier today, is it too far to say that Santa Buddies is a racist film? Because I was like, I didn't tell her this, but at the time.
You need a person of color's opinion.
I was like, I want to make the song about how the film was kind of racist, but I don't want everyone else to be like, what are you talking about?
Oh, come on. You know me well enough.
I know, I figured. I just had to make sure.
Wasn't the only human being of color shown in the film the private chef?
Oh boy,
maybe the little Mexican girl and the Japanese boy.
Oh, that's true.
Right,
yeah. But again, all in stereotypes.
Yeah.
So
private
great.
chef at Butterball's man.
Yeah. So we've got an AI song here. It's all this completely AI. I just added some fun, goofy stuff at the end. But the prompt for this one was write a song about Santa Buddies and about how it's both racist and heartwarming at the same time.
Christmas song.
Yeah, and it's a Christmas song. It has got kind of that vibe to it. And it spit out the title of the song is Santa Buddies Strange and True. For whatever reason. So enjoy that while you sit and wait for our next episode on The Search for Santa Paws. We'll see you then.
In a snowy town where puppies play, there's a story told on Christmas Day. Santa Buddies warms the heart, no doubt, but there's something here we need to talk about. Puppies frolic and magic's in the air, a holiday spirit that we all can share. Yet deep inside there's a shadow too, the kind of thing that we can't unview. Santa Buddies, oh can't you see? You're a holiday gem, but there's history, raises souls that we can't ignore. Even with your heartwarming score, we love the joy, the Christmas cheer. But let's be honest, let's be clear, we can't embrace the love you show while calling out what's wrong below. Pups, they steal the scene in festive moments, all bright and clean. But stereotyping's lurking there, behind the sparkle and the reindeer's glare. Different voices overdrawn, characters too far gone, cliches we wish could just retire. Yet the warmth persists like a fire. Santa Buddies, oh can't you see? You're a holiday gem, but there's history, raises souls that we can't ignore. Even with your heartwarming score, we love the joy, the Christmas cheer. But let's be honest, let's buddies, here's the truth. You've got your charm and holiday youth, but it's time to fix, to make things right, so all can share in Christmas light. Santa buddies, can't you see? We're watching you thoughtfully. We'll cheer for change, for brighter days, and celebrate in better ways. Woo, woo!